Randall's Log Video 145, and I'm Randall Armstrong. Today's date is actually Sunday, May 28th, 2017, but this video is for Thursday, May 25th. This is actually video 2 of 5. Sorry, the hiccups. Why is it video 2 of 5? What happened? Yes, I missed some days. I missed some days because I was not home. I was not able to make the videos. I was in Orlando for MegaCon. Wednesday night, actually, was in Brandon, spending the night over at Marco's, and then from there, the plan was to drive out to MegaCon, which was Thursday. So Thursday, we get up, we got ready, enjoyed some McDonald's breakfast. Yeah, we woke up at a good time. Didn't take too long into getting ready because my car was practically already packed. Marco just needed to load his stuff in there. But yeah, and traffic, thank God, was not bad. We get up, we go. I surprised Marco. I didn't tell him that my air conditioning was fixed. The air conditioning unit worked fine. I just didn't have any Freon. So, and Parker actually fixed that. That was one of the things that he fixed the other day. Not last night, not last night, but like not Wednesday night when I had him work on the car. It was 2 or 3 days prior to that. But yeah, so it feels great to have air conditioning in the car again. It really does. I'm so happy. So he was just like, he was like, woo, just happy, excited, because we're big guys, and big guys in a warm car in Florida. It's just sweating. You don't want to sweat. We really don't. We want to enjoy a nice air conditioning car ride. Sweating is for when you're working out, that I don't mind, or for basic physical activity like walking and whatever. But yeah. So anyways, had a decent drive to Orlando. No real issues, thank God. There hasn't been a lot of honking going on with my car. Now that we kind of determined where the sensor and the honking is coming from, that I think helps. Understanding why. I think that's the other thing that was frustrating me was I don't understand why my car is honking, and now I have a better understanding, and so now when the car does honk, even though it's still unpleasant, it's not as nerve-wracking as before or frustrating as before. So anyways, we drive out to Orlando. We made it to Bryan's place, I want to say around 12:30, between 12:30 and 1 p.m. The convention doesn't open until 4. So we hung out at Bryan's, we unpacked the car, and just hung out and talked and, killed time. But yeah, so we did that, and then, yeah, we jumped in the car. Bryan, we made a deal where I would drive Thursday, then Bryan would drive Friday, and then he offered to drive again on Saturday, and I would pay for parking. I'll get into the details of that later. But yeah, so Thursday we get there. First things first, we have to get the press badges. They would not let us get the press badges early. We had to wait till 4. If you were VIP, VIPs got in like an hour or 2 hours early. I think 2 p.m. They got in early, which was cool. That doesn't bug me. And then it hit me, and I remembered, Frank asked me to get a MegaCon exclusive variant, Spider-Man variant. So I was like, okay, cool, yeah. I go to customer service at the booth while we're waiting, and I get a program. Thank God they were kind enough, they gave me a program, and I'm going through it, and when I saw a MegaCon store, immediately I was reminded, like, oh, I need to get that book for Frank, and I'm looking at the clock, and it's like about 3:40, and I'm like, oh, okay, 20 minutes before the thing, and before they give us the press badges. So I immediately just I head out. One other thing I forgot to mention, the smart thing that I did, and I actually got a decent amount of compliments on it, I brought a tiny chair with me, a tiny folding chair, um, which really was the best thing that I did this whole convention. Usually, when you're at a convention and you've been standing and on your feet most of the day, it's exhausting and it hurts. Um, for Bryan, it's okay for Bryan. He works at a theme park, so he's on his feet all day. So his body is conditioned to kind of stand and walk all day. Um, I am not. I have not stood or physically like been in that kind of position at work in a few years. To be honest, the last couple jobs I've had, they've all been having me sit there in a chair and work on a computer. So my body is not conditioned for that at all. Last job I had that I had to do stuff like that was a Fox Rent-A-Car. And not to mention like the shoes that I had. I really do need to get new shoes because the padding on the inside is starting to wear out. But like shoes and feet are so important for your body, for your lower back, for your legs, everything, posture, all that. It's so important. You're wearing the wrong kind of shoes. It affects your posture, your feet, and it really just affects you physically, and it hurts. I learned that these past 10 years in life. But yeah, so we get there. I managed to make it to the MegaCon store, which is really just a table filled with all their stuff. And as you can see back here, MegaCon bag. They had the Batman Adventures 12, covers by John Boy Myers, who we later met. Awesome guy. But yeah, so we get there, and I'm there at the table, and I'm looking through the books, and I find the Spider-Man book. The first one they handed to me, I kind of looked at it and I saw that there was like a crease on the spine. So I was like, hey, can I switch this out? So the guy was nice. He let me switch it out, and then I got the two Batman books. Excuse me, 3 Batman books, because I got one that was a Jim Lee cover. I got that. I got the 2 Batman Adventures 12, Frank's book, and I got MegaCon bag, all for like $105. So yeah, we haven't even walked into MegaCon yet, and I dropped $105. It's crazy. But I'm glad I knocked it out of the way. I'm glad I was able to get that book for Frank. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with Frank and getting him the book, because I know he's excited for that. He couldn't make it to MegaCon, which sucks, because I know the past 3-4 years, every year we've met up, we've hung out at MegaCon, and this was the first time, like even his brother would show up for MegaCon, and obviously his brother couldn't make it. So this was the first time the tradition was broken. And it killed me. I still had a great time, but it just wasn't the same without Frank. It really wasn't. But yeah, so I get the books. I head back over to where the press badge area is at. We get our press badges. Now you're probably wondering, like, what are you talking about? Why are you getting press badges? You've not explained anything, and I just realized that. So Marco helps out, and he writes for Bleeding Cool, the website, and so they hooked him up. They got him press badges. He was able to get 3 press badges, one for him, one for me, and one for Bryan. So we all got in for free. Now, just because we got in for free doesn't mean we get to party and have a good time. We're actually there to work. So Marco has interviews to do. And we actually managed to do some interviews that day. I think the first interview we did was with Elliot Fernandez, my friend, my buddy. Awesome artist. He was there this year as a guest, so he didn't have Artist Alley. He had an official desk because he's really getting some more work published, and he's worked with Archie Comics. I'm so happy for the guy, I really am, and I hope that he gets more and more work. And I think he's working to really like launch a nice website and and work towards getting creator-owned stuff made. I'm rooting for him. I know he does a lot of commissions and he makes money off of commissions, so that's great. I'm happy for him on that. But yeah, we go there, we interview him, we joke around. My goal was to later on run into him again later in the convention that weekend and get a picture with him. But my plans were spoiled. I'll get to the details of that later. Anyways, we did that. And then ran into Martin Dunn. Same thing. I wanted to get a picture with him later that weekend. Didn't work out. But it was cool chatting with him. I feel bad, Martin, if you're watching. I'm sorry. He gave me a stack of flyers to hand out. I had like no time to hand out those flyers. I really did not have any time. But I didn't throw them away. So if he needs them, I'll get them back to you. Or next convention, I'll make sure to make time to kind of hand them out and do stuff. But for the most part, yeah, met with him. I want to say Thursday, Marco met with the Source Point Press. Two of the people that work there that were running the table that, they have books. Yeah, there's tons of books from Source Point Press. It's like a lot of neat stuff. So Marco got to interview them both. Ran into a couple people, Mr. Eric Davis. I ran into Benny. I ran into Rick. Rick was awesome. Huge thanks to Rick. Rickety Rick. He's so helpful and so nice. Like, he hung out with us. Anytime I needed to take a picture, and I was able to hand him the iPod or my phone, and he was able to take pics for me. And not to mention, it was just fun hanging out and talking with him. I was super glad to run into him. I think I ran into Tracy on Thursday as well. I ran into a bunch of people. Made sure to take some selfies. But Thursday was mostly just working on interviews. I think at the very end of Thursday, we finally got to look at some of the vendors, some of the books. This one guy had some 50-cent books, and then we went to another table that had a bunch of 50-cent books. But we had to cut that early on that table. So the goal and the plan was for Friday, when we got there, that would be the first place we would go to. That was what I was hoping we would do, and I mentioned it to Marco, and he was like, yeah, we can do that. So I was like, sweet. Awesome. But yeah, so the convention's closing up. I bought some books, some other 50-cent books, some other stuff. But as the convention was wrapping up, we leave. We headed out to... I ended up eating at Subway, and so did Bryan. And then Marco wanted Taco Bell, so we stopped at Taco Bell, and then we made it back to the apartment, and we had dinner, we talked, we had a good time. Bryan was pretty tired, so he wanted to go to sleep early. And so me and Marco crashed in the living room, and which, by the way, I have to mention, Bryan's roommate, Aldi, super awesome, nice guy, very friendly. Huge thanks to him, because I know, he's got his girlfriend, he's got his kids, and to take up the living room, when he could be enjoying the living room and spending time with his kids, because I think the video game system's out there and the kids like to play video games. Well, they made it home. They made it to the apartment that night, and the kids were already kind of exhausted, tired. They made plans that night, but still, I feel bad, but at the same time, I'm just grateful that he was nice enough to, let us stay there. Bryan, managed to ask him, and he was cool with it. So very happy to have that opportunity to stay there. I certainly wouldn't want to inconvenience anybody like that ever again. So my goal for next year, obviously, is to have a job, part-time job, at least, and be smart with my money, save my money, and make sure I can get like a hotel room next time. That is the plan. But yeah, no, it was great. So yeah, after that, we crashed. I got to sleep on the sofa. Marco had his the mat that he let me sleep on over at his place. He brought that along. He used that, and so that was that. That was Thursday. Thursday was awesome. Thursday was a good start, in my opinion. It was a good start, and then I was super excited to see what we were going to do Friday. It's amazing how fast this weekend went by. But anyways, that's it for Thursday. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. See you tomorrow night. All right, good night. Bye. Thanks for watching.